What is your leadership style? Can you give a few examples of this in action?
I would say my leadership style is more of the democratic leadership style. This involves allowing your coworkers to be involved in decisions. This would allow them to have a say in what changes or additions should be added to a new protocol that you were adding to your work.
Tell me a time when you faced conflict or disagreed with a coworker or a leader.
I would say at my current job, we got a new supervisor and she was pretty quick to implement changes. She allowed the new coworkers to sell our more established product, which is easy to sell and earns more commission. And she turned our seasoned employees into the new products we were selling, which was harder to sell with less commission, obviously, because they were sold less. So we just had to figure out a way to come to an agreement of who sells what and have it fairly dispersed and just figure out why she had made such a large change. And I think it was mostly just confusion and yeah.
Okay. Tell me a time when you were faced with a problem and successfully solved it.
One time at my old job, I was booking hotels for clients that came to visit from out of state. I had booked hotel rooms for 4 clients. They came to the hotel. The hotel accidentally booked the wrong dates and they were currently sold out, so they had nothing for them. So I just quickly called the other hotel. I booked new rooms. I got the client's drivers to take them from the old hotel to the new hotel. I just also had to implement a new confirmation system in order to have that not happen again. And I also personally would call the hotels that we had booked prior to the day of the clients arriving, just to make sure.
Tell me a time you faced a staffing shortage either from a leadership or employee situation. What were your actions related to being understaffed?
So I worked at a small pharmacy that was open 24 hours. Our coworkers would come cover a shift 30 minutes before our shift ended to make sure it was a good easy transition. Turns out the employee never showed up, so we had to quickly call the other 2 employees that were clerks as well to come cover the shift. One employee said that they could come cover, but they were at their other job for another 4 hours. So I just basically had to step up, work an extra 4 hours on top of my already 8 hours, and the pharmacist then had to come and assist me while I was taking breaks and lunch, and just kind of had to do 2 jobs at once.
What is your strategy to retain employees and maintain morale on the unit?
So my strategy to retain employees would just to have trust. This also allows the employee to come to me when they feel they have something out of concern. They can come talk to me. If they want to be able to come talk to me, and just having trust is huge, and respect. And if you have respect for your employees, they will respect you as your leader.
How do you offer feedback to employees?
I would say I like to just go in with an open mind. I like to offer feedback fast. As soon as something happens, I like to tell them right away. I'd like to ask them, I like for them to ask questions or voice their opinions and concerns. I also like to give constructive criticism if they need it, but I always end the conversations with encouragement so they know that they are still doing a good job.
Give an example of how you embrace cultural differences and disparity in your team.
Diversity. So within my current job, we allow the employees to share pictures, and also during our meetings, if they share a picture, they're allowed to explain the holidays they celebrate, or just anything that they'd like to share with us, different cultures, different ethnicities. We also have different groups within our company that are for different cultures and backgrounds, and anyone's allowed to join them. We meet once a month. We're able to ask questions, celebrate different holidays, celebrate anything that they may do different than us, or just any information or questions that they have and they're interested in joining. Everyone's welcome.
How would you approach an underperforming employee?
Underperforming. I would first ask the employee if everything was okay personally without getting too personal with them. I would ask if there's anything that I could do personally to help them succeed in their job. I would also share any resources that we have that the employee could use to help benefit their job as well.
How would you approach an angry client?
So if we had an angry client, at first I would think I would want the client to cool down. It's never good to speak with someone who's very angry. It's always good for them to just calm down. I would ask them why they're angry. I'd also ask them I would also try and get the full story from both the client and the employee as of what happened. But in the end, we always want to make the client happy. We want them to come back to our facility. I also would want to make sure that the employee knows I'm not taking the client's side, and I believe their side as well if it was that kind of situation. So I would talk to the employee once that client left and get more information.
How would you commit to professional development? Provide an example.
So I would say I like to stay up to date with learning. I have a lot of, LinkedIn offers a lot of learning webinars or resources that you can read to kind of brush up on your skills. You can attend different webinars that maybe your job hosts. You can also, if there's any opportunity to be a mentor to a new employee, that really allows you to brush up on your policies and procedures within your company. That keeps you up to date in everything you know.
What would you do if you
were presented with a process?
What would you do if you were presented with a process improvement project with ambiguous directions?
In that situation, I would probably go back to the leader to make sure that I was 100% aware of what they wanted me to do with the project. If that wasn't an applicable thing, I would go to and ask a coworker maybe that recently did the project, see how they did it, see if they have any feedback. I'd also want to send in a draft maybe a week or two before the due date just to make sure everything was what they wanted, any questions answered, and then once that was completed, I would turn in the final project.
The end.